Hello, cinema friends. I'm Marcus Seabury.
And I'm Gail Jones Carson. Welcome to Cinesundry.
And on today's episode, we're going to talk about a movie about making a movie in the middle of the pandemic called The Bubble. And okay, now before we get into our review of The Bubble, we want to remind you about our rating system. There it is. Now that top score, that is our tour. That is for some of the top tier, top shelf projects, normally some of the best projects you've seen all year.
And middling is just average, run of the mill movie that you could take a leave.
And that bottom score is heck. That is for those terrible, dismal, abysmal, god awful projects that probably shouldn't have been made in the first place. And now that you know our ratings, let's get into the rundown. Okay, The Bubble is about people coming together, actors and crew, trying to film a movie, making a bubble in a remote location in the beginning of the pandemic. And we just see them struggling against all odds to finish this movie. And of course, now we got there, we got to talk about the script and acting. All right, so Gail, how'd you feel about this script?
Well, okay, so it's supposed to have been somewhat of a comedy, which I didn't find it comical. I had a tough time with this one, Marcus. Um, you know, some of the stuff just didn't make sense to me. Now, I did think it was real creative to start a movie, and create this bubble to make it work, to make it safe. Now, I thought that was creative the way they did it, but they went into so many different kinds of scenes, and going from shooting the movies and then folks hijacking folks and trying to kill folks and description. Marcus, it took me 2 or 3 times to watch that whole movie. I had to go back to it because it wasn't a movie that could just keep my attention. It just didn't make sense to me. A lot of it. The only thing it was creative to create the bubble to make the actors safe, but it just wasn't a realistic movie. It wasn't a comedy. It wasn't comical to me. It was a tough time watching this one, and I must say, out of all the movies I watched, this is one of the toughest I have tried to watch. Well, I did watch it, but it took me like 2 or 3 times to finish it.
That's fair. I watched it in one sitting, but I got annoyed a lot because it just felt like the pacing was just off. And it felt like if they had shaved like 30 minutes, like it probably could have been great, you know. And and also there's some goofy scenes like where they try to do things with filters, kind of like what you see on social media. And I was like, but this is dumb. I mean, this does not happen in real life. Like, I guess it was supposed to be like, hey, we're high, so we're seeing people like filters on social media. And it was like, but this is dumb.
Well,
Um,
Marcus, sometimes you say, well, I have to remember it's a movie. Yeah, and I agree with you, but this one right here, it I don't know, Marcus.
hey, like I said, it clearly won't be getting an tour from me. I will tell you that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it had a few little issues, but we
No,
can
it
talk
had a
about the
lot of
script.
issues.
Yeah. There were several issues.
And I don't really like to say much negative about movies too much, but
I know you
I
are
couldn't help myself on this one, Marcus.
you're normally a beacon of light. I'm like, I didn't. I feel bad about recommending this to you. I didn't mean to like bring you down, but but all right, now let's get into the actors. First up, we got to talk about yes, Karen Gillian. Now, many people know her as Nebula from the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. She is Carol Cobb. How'd you feel about her performance?
Well, she did okay, but none of the actors none of them were great to me. She just was just average. She was okay. I mean,
I
but it was the scripting. She played the role of what she was written.
uh I, I I thought she did a good job. I was just glad to see her outside of the blue Nebula makeup because I haven't seen a lot of her work outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thought she did good.
But
I
did you
just
think
really
she did a stretch? Did you from what you watched her on? What do you think it was a
well, yeah,
stretch?
because I mean Nebula's like a bloodthirsty cyborg, so this is like the whole other way. So yeah, I'll give her
Mhm.
that. But and also I just feel bad for her character. I mean, like she goes out to film this movie, then she tries to FaceTime her fiance, and he has a waitress in there. Basically, he's cheating on her in her home. Then
Mhm.
she tried to protest against clearly unfair and unsafe working conditions, and she got her lines short and pretty much got her part short. And it was just like one thing after the other, and I was just like, wow, they are just really dumping on this poor little character, poor little Carol. Uh, yeah, and of course, gonna keep this going after Karen Gillian. We have Amy Mann. Amy Mann, people may know from several comedies in the early 2000s, like Knocked Up and This Is 40. She's also the wife of the director Judd Apatow, and she played Lauren Van Chance, kind of an aging actor, having a bit of real life drama. She's divorced her husband, who's played by David Duchovny, who's also in this movie. Again, I liked her. I'm a little biased. I always like Amy Mann's just. She always just has this great sense of comic timing when she delivers lines, and she's kind of snappy. Like I said, she's one of my old favorites. How'd you feel about Amy Mann's performance?
Well, I just thought um, the breakup and their relationship in the movie was somewhat interesting. I think that she did play that pretty well, but as I said, I mean, it's the scripting. She played the role that she was given, and I just she was average. She was average.
That is fair. That is fair. All right. Well, next up we got the guy playing her ex-husband, David
Mhm.
Duchovny. He plays Dustin Maroney. How'd you feel about David Duchovny in this film?
Well, now I'm just gonna say I'm a little biased. I do like him as an actor, and I'm gonna give him a little bit more credit than I gave the two females a few minutes ago. I thought he did better than their average playing. But each, like I said, I'm going to go always back to they were given a script that to me was not a good script. But I think he did a good job.
That's fair. Um, I'm a little biased too. You know,
I like him as an actor.
yeah, like I wasn't a big X Files fan, but I did watch and I was aware of the hype and all that. And
Mhm.
you know, of course, people know him from X Files and
Mhm.
Californication. I thought his Dustin was kind of an a hole, but a believable a hole.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. He
cause I
played.
was like,
He
cause
acted the role.
having acted, in smaller productions, I know that guy who thinks he's as good of a writer as the people who write it. Oh no, what if we say this line, or what if we make your character this and that? That always drives directors crazy from what I've seen because they're like, hey, I have a vision. People are trusting me with this vision. Say my lines. Say the lines I tell you to say. Um, so yeah, like very, I guess, kind of parodying or a satirical look at just kind of those big shot Hollywood actors that think they're too cool for school. I liked his performance. And next up we got Keegan Michael Key. Now, he's a favorite of many people from Key and Peele, things like Friends from College. Just a lot of funny comedic roles, and he plays Sean Knox in this one.
And
I
I do
liked
like
him.
him as an actor.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the whole thing is that he's playing a terrible actor in this, and I was like, yes, yes, I get it. He's a terrible actor, and he may or may not be like a reluctant cult leader. I mean, it's familiar if you've seen Keegan Michael Key's work, but it was still kind of hilarious to me. What do you think about Keegan Michael Key in this one?
Well, like I said, I do like him generally as an actor. In this movie right here, I just think that this wasn't his movie. This wasn't his movie.
I respect it because I can't get mad because I have crucified many a film on this podcast, so I can only respect your opinion. And all right, rounding out our cast here, we've actually got the director's daughter, Iris Apatow, and she is Crystal Chris. She is a TikToker who I assume has a following who they asked to be in this movie. I mean, I thought it was a nice little bit of social commentary on our times because trust me, if you have a big enough following, they will pull you into stuff. Like I've seen people on social media who know nothing about stand up suddenly jump from that to doing stand up at like a club, and the club owner doesn't care because people know them, so they'll come to his club. And I assume the same thing would probably happen in movies. I actually liked her performance. I thought it was like a kind of like a POV look for like the audience because she's a newcomer to the movie game. Like I said, or I guess like you've been saying, I thought she did good with what she was given. She
Yeah,
wasn't given a lot, but I thought she did good with what she was given.
and that, Marcus, I do agree with you on that. She did good with what she was given. Matter of fact, she did better pretty much than some of the other actors that were on there. I will say that for her. Uh, but
Probably because she's new and it's still fun to her.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, she did pretty good. I'm not gonna say she was average. She did pretty good in it.
All right, all right. And well, next we got to talk about director's technique. Okay, the director of The Bubble is Judd Apatow. You know him; he's done so many frat boy comedies like Knocked Up and Funny People, and he just kind of excels normally at the comedy. I don't know, like this one feels like a little bit of a miss. Like I said before, I just feel like he kind of needed to take a hatchet to some of the movie and just like do some strong editing. And I'm just like, I still feel like it's 30 minutes away from being like near great. And I don't know, maybe he was like, well, Netflix wants a 2 hour film, and I got to give it to him. Um, it was cool, but I'm a little disappointed because like I'm a guy who watches Judd Apatow projects, and I was expecting to be blown away like I was by Knocked Up and things of that nature. But this one was okay.
Well, well, you pretty
She
much know how
like
I feel
she
about
like
this
she,
movie.
she like okay, it's nice.
Well, and it was dubbed as somewhat of a comedy, but I didn't find one. No, I didn't laugh one time. I found nothing funny about this. I mean, I thought it was satirical the way it was done. Like I said, the only creative thing I saw in this movie was the idea of creating an environment for actors to star in a movie or produce a movie in which they would be safe during the pandemic. That was creative. But all of the stories and the episodes and stuff that went into the movie, and from from scene to scene, it didn't connect to me. It was just botched up to me. I mean, then you have folks running after folks, trying to kill folks. I mean, it just lost me. Like I said, it
I,
took me two or three times to finish watching it. It just most movies, if they're just average, pretty much, I can watch them from beginning to end, and I'm good, even if it's just an average movie. But this movie right here, it couldn't keep my attention. I mean, since I knew we had to do the review on it, I just forced myself to watch all of it.
I understand, and I echo those sentiments. uh, well, all right. And speaking of sentiments, it is time for sentiments and rating. Well, all right, Gail, give it to me. Give me your final verdict
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
bubble.
Marcus, I've never given a movie a hack. I've just not done that. But I have to give this one a hack. I just,
No,
I just have to.
hey, like I said, I have I have thrown out the hex with like well, maybe not reckless abandon, but with at an alarming speed at times. So like, hey, I mean, and I'm a big proponent of if you don't like it, you don't like it. You know,
And Marcus, I'm the kind of person. I mean, I love movies. Watch two to 2.5 hours of movie watching is an escape for me. That is my enjoyment. Nothing else exists but the movie that's in front of me. And this movie right here just wasn't one of the movies that helped me escape mentally.
I think the young kids have a phrase about this, something like "that ain't it, chief." So, so that's what Gail is saying to this one. This ain't it, chief. Well, I'm not gonna hack this one. There were parts that made me laugh. I mean, I am about
And what part was that? What part was that, Marcus?
like I don't know. Well, like I said, just all the horrible things happening to Carol, it just became just crazy after a while. I was just like, oh my goodness, what else is gonna happen to this poor girl? And then like the little TikTok dances they were doing, and mainly Keegan Michael Key, because that man is like insane, and he just so fully commits to his characters that he makes me laugh. Like I said, with this cast, I was really expecting them to knock it out the park, and I was just like, yeah, this feels short of my expectations. My sentiment, to be honest, was one of relief. Like, finally, that's over, and I can go to sleep because I was watching it on my phone, on my Netflix app. That's what this film is at on Netflix. Um, well, my score, because like I said, it was okay, but it didn't quite deliver for me. So I'm gonna give it a middling.
A middling, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said earlier, there is no way this was getting in our tour. I could not in good conscience lie and mislead anyone. You know what I'm saying? I I don't know. Like on paper, this should have worked. All these people are good, and Judd Apatow is good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like maybe Netflix or somebody had to be like, "Hey guys, you give us 2 hours," and Judd Apatow was like, "Okay." Um. Well, guys, that's gonna do it for this edition of Cinesundry. Um. And remember, guys, as always, we ask that you like the video, comment on the video down below, and please subscribe to the On Location Memphis channel on YouTube. Um, so, and like I always tell you guys, take some time, treat yourself to a movie. I've been Marcus Seabear,
And I'm Gail Jones Carson. Thank you for being with us.
and see you next time.